Well, Steve, I'm so excited. It's been almost 3 months and we are going back to get our A1C retested.
Yeah, that's exciting. It's going to be a good day to see what our A1C is. We've really put our new lifestyle to the test. We both have lost considerable amount of weight, just very simply by cutting out carbs, low carbs, sugar, salt, and just eating healthier.
Well, I've lost 10 pounds and you've
lost 15.
In the 3 months since we went and had our A1C. We were shocked to find out our A1Cs were pre-diabetic. So we were very surprised because the first thing they always tell you is to lose a little bit of weight. And I had been stagnant. I lost 35 pounds in the first year and a half of the pandemic. And then I was stagnant for a year and a half. And I didn't think I could lose weight because it just wasn't coming off.
Oh, that's true. But Sue has done a really good job at eating right and staying away from the bad food, eating the good food, exercising, and that really makes a difference.
We thought we had a very healthy diet and we didn't know where we could cut back. But when the doctor mentioned that she was going to put me on metformin, I said, we've got to do something.
Oh, definitely. You don't want to be on any medication.
Plus, we had no idea what it would cost, the side effects, and I just said, okay, this is it. I am not going to take a medication. We're going to make our, we don't know even if we've achieved our goal or not, because we've got to get our blood taken again. But we watched, at least I watched a lot of YouTube videos, and they talked about the keto diet, the carnivore diet, all the diets.
Mm-hmm.
And we did not think we could do one particular diet. So we listened to the people who said, just eat real food, go back to real food. And we thought about our growing up years in the 70s and what we ate in the 60s and 70s. And we eliminated the processed foods and the added sugar. We looked at every label. We should have very few labels to look at because real foods don't have packaging. So we've cut back, and bread, my favorite, bread.
Oh boy, that was tough. That's my favorite too. Toasted bread with butter.
Well, muffins, bread, any bread, and muffins and bakery goods. What do you think you missed the most, Steve?
Boy, I'd have to say pastas. That's probably what I've missed the most. But I've found some soybean, pasta made out of soybean, which is, it's pretty good.
Well, we went grocery shopping today and the muffins were right there, right when you walk in the front door, right there. And I looked at them and thought, can I ever have a muffin again? I miss my muffins. I miss my pancakes. I miss pizza. So it's all the bread items. I would say more than sugar, but of course they were all loaded with sugar. We still are eating a lot of fruit that has sugar in it. So if we find that we are still pre-diabetic, then we would have to get rid of all of our fruit. Oh,
that's true. That's very true. And so it's really going to be interesting to find out what our A1C is, what the reading is. I've also, in my journey of losing weight, changing my lifestyle, I've cut out my blood pressure pills. I have also cut out my cholesterol pills, and we're also down. So the same day, I'm also going to find out my cholesterol. So I've cut out blood pressure pills, cholesterol pills, changed my lifestyle where I don't eat all of that carb-loaded, sugar-loaded foods. And, you know, I'm continuing to lose weight. I have energy. I feel good. I feel a lot better, matter of fact, because I'm not being weighed down with my body trying to process highly processed foods.
And we're going to be retested for sleep apnea. 5 years ago, I got very sick, but I didn't have the typical symptoms of sleep apnea. And I went from doctor to doctor all summer to find out what was wrong. I scheduled the sleep study just because I wanted to prove that I did not have sleep apnea. Turns out I did have it, and when I went to a cardiologist, I thought maybe I had heart problems. He looked at me and he said, well, you have a fat neck, you might have sleep apnea. And I went, I didn't hear anything. After that, I said, I didn't hear anything he said after that. I said, I have a fat neck. No one's ever told me I have a fat neck. I was thinking in my head, how do you lose weight in your neck? How do you lose weight in your neck? Well, now my neck is actually thin. You can see my neck. I don't know what it was back then because they did measure it, but they never told me the measurements. If it's 16 inches or above, you have a risk as a woman of having sleep apnea. That's all those years, no one's ever told me I had a fat neck. And I thought, why did they tell me all these years? You know, they'd always ask, you know, are you sleeping? I said, yes, 8 hours, because I was in bed for 8 hours. But when you have sleep apnea, you're being woken up all night because you're not breathing. And I had no idea. So losing this weight, lost the weight in my neck, and I'm hoping that I can probably come off of my machine. But Steve, do you think you're gonna be able to?
Probably not. I mean, I was very severe with 55 times an hour. I would stop breathing, and I had a huge neck too. So I really don't think that I would ever be able to get off the machine. And actually, I like the machine. I know it sounds strange, but I like having the machine. I can't fall asleep without it. And you know, I get a good night's sleep through the night. It's a good, solid night's sleep, whereas I wasn't getting that before.
So if we are still pre-diabetic, even with our diet changes, it can be in our sleep. Having sleep apnea puts you at a much higher risk of being diabetic. So getting a good night's sleep is critical, and we're attaching the link to moving downstairs and how we're getting a better night's sleep sleeping downstairs. You know, you wouldn't think that such a little thing like changing bedrooms would help, but we're doing everything. We do not want to have diabetes.
That's right. Diabetes is nothing to laugh at or to take lightly, because really it takes medication to keep you alive. And medication always comes with side effects. And yes, we live in a great country and we have advanced medical people. And so they've developed medication that you can take to help you with diabetes, but there's always side effects. So it's better if you can avoid diabetes.
Well, also, I've been following the news for years on how insulin has been going up crazy every year. And I've always thought in the back of my head, I do not want to be diabetic. I've been seeing this for, I don't know, 5-10 years. And my heart always went out for people who have to get insulin and how they have to go to Canada or Mexico to get it. So I always thought that. So when they told us we were pre-diabetic, I was in shock. And that's why I was just scared, because I thought you can't get to insulin level. You know, you can't get to that. And then also, I've been reading so many books and watching so many YouTube videos about doctors who talk about amputating your toes, your fingers, your legs. And I just thought, I just don't want to get to that. I've never had anybody in my family who's diabetic, so it was a shock to me. But of course, was it 90% of people who are pre-diabetic are not aware of it, like we were not aware of it? Now we wonder how many years we were pre-diabetic because our previous doctor didn't do the A1C testing. We switched doctors this year, and that probably saved our lives.
Absolutely.
I think having sleep apnea, you would do the A1C test because you're at a much higher risk of being diabetic if you have sleep apnea, as well as having heart problems. In addition to that, sleep apnea is a serious chronic illness that is becoming more and more common as obesity rises. Right, I think I saw a story that said, I think we have 40% obese people today, and by 2030, it's going to be up to 50%. And I was shocked. I actually looked up those figures because I thought, no, that can't be right. We can't have that many obese people right now. Mm-hmm. But you could search that and see, and to predict that we're going to have 1 in 2 obese in just 7 years.
That's crazy.
That's ridiculous.
And a lot of that, I would assume, is from processed food. Because if you look at food in the grocery store, that's easy to make, pop in the microwave, have a whole meal in a matter of minutes. It has very high sodium content and high carbohydrates and just a little bit of sugar to make it more palatable.
No, a lot of sugar. It has a lot of sugar.
But the whole point is that you're eating poorly. You're eating processed food with chemicals. and that can cause obesity.
Well, when the pandemic started, I got sick with symptoms of COVID and went to the doctor thinking maybe it's a sinus infection. I didn't know what it was, but I had a fever. Oh. And at that time, my doctor told me, that was our previous doctor, our doctor told us that I needed to lose weight. And I said, oh, no, I've had my DNA tested, and it told me that I'm going to weigh more than the average person, that my DNA tells me that I am going to be heavier. So I told him I can't lose weight. And he said, don't eat carbs. And I was thinking, carbs, what, bread? Do you want me to give up bread? I mean, I didn't even know what was.
How crazy, give up bread.
Well, no, I didn't know what he meant in carbs. Was that just bread? He told me to go on a plant-based diet, but that's a whole nother story we'll have to get into. So anyway, at that point, I did start making some changes to start losing weight. And so anyway, we have videos out there with food that we cook, and we're going to be putting out some meals. And I felt kind of stupid because everybody says at your age, you're supposed to be heavier. You can't lose weight. Your blood pressure is supposed to be higher. It goes up with age. All these things are not true. You shouldn't be getting up every night to go to the restroom in the middle of the night. These are not part of aging. So I've lost 45 pounds now, and Steve's lost 50 or so, and 10 of mine and 15 of his were just the last 3 months alone. That's just shocking.
Well, and that does point to the change in lifestyle and the foods that we're eating.
I know many of the videos I've been watching go on and on about the carnivore diet and eating meat, and I don't even like meat, but we have added meat into our diet, but I do not have a gallbladder. So I have found that I'm struggling a little bit with eating all this fat. So I've never heard that in any of these carnivore videos, that if you don't have a gallbladder, it is hard to eat a fatty diet. It's painful. For me at least, I've been starting to get some stomach pains, and so I've been looking at that. Why, I don't know. I don't know what the right diet is. Everybody's told me a different thing. One doctor said, plant-based. One doctor said meat, but no ribs. And actually the ribs are what upset the doctor said no pork, and we did get ribs, and that did upset my stomach. So this is a day by day. Our diet changes every week, but right now we're eating everything in moderation, which I know the carnivore people say, no, you can't eat in moderation. It's all meat, meat. I don't like meat, and it's expensive. So that's hard for us to maintain an all meat diet.
Right. It's easy for me. I like meat, and so it's real easy. When we talk about meat, we're talking about red meat, we're talking about chicken, we're talking about lamb, mostly. Some fish in there, but all grass-fed. Any kind of like beef, grass-fed. Lamb is always grass-fed, and chicken is free range, no antibiotics, and the chicken that I buy is air cooled. It's never frozen, and you can taste the difference. I mean, it tastes real food.
But you're not on a carnivore diet either. You are still eating a lot of fruits, vegetables, and other foods.
I eat a lot of fruits, vegetables, salads, but I don't eat pastas, I don't eat bread, so it's low carb. So there's going to be 5-7 carbs.
What we're doing is we're eating real food diet is what we're trying to go for. Yeah. Real food. Foods that haven't been processed, foods that haven't been through a lot of videos talk about an apple off of a tree is not processed. When you make juice out of it, that's another layer. And then when you make applesauce, that's another layer. And then when you make apple pie, it's another layer. So you want the original layer, you want that apple. But apples are high in sugar. That was just an example of not processed versus the layers of processed.
And apples have a lot of fructose, and so do oranges.
Well, we gave up apples and bananas. And I remember with my kids, we always play Barney. I love to eat apples and bananas. He sang that song every day on Barney. And I was like, so apples and bananas are high in sugar. We gave those up, but we are eating oranges, which we may have to give up next, depending on the results of this blood work.
Years ago, I weighed a lot more. Back in 2006, I was close to 300 pounds, and I went on an all carnivore diet at that point. and ate mostly meat, cheese, eggs. That was it. No vegetables, no fruit, no pastas, no breads, none of that. And I lost quite a bit. I lost close to 50, 75 pounds real fast, but I ended up with a fatty liver, and that was painful. And the only way I knew it was a fatty liver is my doctor did an ultrasound because I was having these pains and told me that the ultrasound pointed out that it was a fatty liver. And the only thing you could do is stay away from fats, fried foods, things like that that irritate your fatty liver. And so my liver has calmed down quite a bit over the changing our lifestyle to eating meat like we're doing right now with chicken and eggs, and including fruit and vegetables. It's a lot better. Staying away from the processed food. And I think we have proven definitely to ourselves that processed food is the culprit in weight gain.
Remember, you need to talk to your healthcare provider before you make any changes with diet or exercise. We've made a lot of changes. It's hard to even go to visit people or go out. I mean, when we were shopping today at Costco, I look over at the food court, I'm like, oh, I missed that yogurt parfait and the pizza. And I was like, in the old days, we'd get a slice of pizza, maybe a yogurt. And,
well, you know, if you do get pizza, you can eat the topping as long as there's nothing highly processed on it. So if you were to get a pizza, a veggie pizza, you could eat the topping.
What's the point of
and
that?
not the crust.
What's the point of that? I made my hamburger pizza on one of my videos, and I'll attach that link. So it was a grass-fed hamburger, and I topped it like a pizza, which is the closest thing we have with no bread. We don't eat the bread anymore. I don't know. The weight's still coming off, and we'll see. We'll see what our blood work shows and where we go from here. And I like saving the money of not buying those pills every month.
Oh, absolutely. I like not taking those pills every month.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see, and we'll show you the blood work and the results of that. I mean, if mine is still high, there can be some medical reason, like you could be, this is what I've looked online, you could be anemic or have thyroid condition, or it could be from not sleeping right. So I wouldn't get on pills right away if it's still high. That's just me. It's a pre-diabetic. I don't think you need to take pills when you're pre-diabetic. My number was what, 5.9, and you were 5.7, so Steve was just over.
Right.
Just over.
Right. Yep.
Normal's 5.6. So we will see.
Right.
We're excited to get the test. It's like,
yes.
It's like studying for a big test, and we think we're prepared, right?
That's right. You always think you're prepared.
So we'll show you the results.
Yep. And the side effect of eating beef and all of that stuff is my hair. I've lost my hair.
Until we see you again.
Take it easy.